The S23 Ultra is 6 months old now, and it's probably still the best flagship Android phone that you can get. And I think Samsung's done a phenomenal job with this phone. So I've had this phone 6 months. I got it the day it came out. I made a lot of videos on it. And nice thing about this phone, there's actually been some improvements since it's come out. They've made improvements. They've optimized the camera more since it's come out. And of course, we're right on the verge of getting Android 14. That's going to be great with this phone. Yes, it's $1,199 MSRP, but Samsung always has deals. Like you can get up to $750 trading credit towards it on their website. And I even checked today, as of the making of this video, if you want to get it in black, you can get it on Amazon for $888. That's a fantastic price. You can hardly get the S23 for that. I mean, that's a really good deal, especially if you look at some of the other flagships around. Like, I know I love the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, but it's a $1,399 phone. So, yeah, there have been some pretty good deals on this. And right now through Samsung, if you want to pick one up in lavender color, you can get the free storage upgrade to 512 for the same price. So they keep doing some weird stuff. Like Samsung, they're like, hey, we want to sell this color this week. Last week, you could get the 512 upgrade on the black one. So I don't know what Samsung's doing, but I guess it's just their kind of way of trying to spur some sales. So the phone itself, the things that I really like about it, well, I love the screen. I think the screen is absolutely beautiful. It goes up to a maximum of 1750 nits brightness, 2 times AMOLED, 120 hertz refresh rate, quad HD plus resolution, like the best of the best of the best. Like, there's a reason that so many other manufacturers use Samsung screens in their phone, including the iPhone. Yes, they use a Samsung screen as well. So the screen itself is beautiful. It's got great haptic feedback. This phone is perfect for content consumption. It's nice, it's big, it's wide, it's great for playing games, and that's one thing that this phone is great for. Like, there are true gaming phones, like the Asus Republic of Gaming, but then there's this phone, which is everything in the kitchen sink, the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. It's got the Snapdragon for Samsung chip, which is actually clocked higher than everybody else's, 3.36 gigahertz. So you got tons and tons of power here, and what's great about all the power in here is it doesn't heat up. It doesn't get warm. It doesn't drain the battery like it did last year. This is the battery king for me this year. And I never thought I would be able to say that, but the iPhone 14 series really dropped the ball when it came to battery life for me. I've gotten up to 10 hours of screen on time with this. This sucker will last me all day long. Like, it's almost impossible for me to kill this phone in one day. And that's saying a lot for me because I can kill almost any phone in a day. So, I love the battery life on here. I love the screen. I love the software updates. We get the monthly security patches and updates. They're always updating and optimizing stuff. And like I said, we're fixing to get Android 14. That's the first in those operating system updates. We're going to get 4 of those for this phone. So it's got Android 13 to start with. You're going to get Android 14, 15, 16, and 17. Android 17 on this phone, and then you're still going to get an extra year of security patches after that, which is pretty uncanny because I've said this a lot of times. I know Samsung didn't used to be the best in the software department, and now they're basically the best. I think they're more reliable and on the spot than Google has been, at least for the last year or two. So there's a lot of things to really like about this phone. Plus, it's just a beautiful phone. I mean, this is the lavender color. They've got several other colors that you can get it in, and I think that it's a beautiful looking phone. The cameras back here, they stand out. They're classic. They're cool looking, and you get that 200 megapixel camera, which is insane. 200 megapixels. Now, the big thing with that 200 megapixel camera, it's got a big sensor on it. It does a lot of pixel binning, but the way it works is it's really designed to grab more light, and then it likes to amplify that inside the pixels. So what you get is better low light photography. You get better skin tones. You get more accuracy. You get less noise, like that kind of blurriness that makes things look less sharp whenever you're shooting in less than ideal lighting. And that's really what this brings to the table. On top of the 100 times zoom, plus you get the macro camera capability where you can get those up close and personal National Geographic shots, which I really love. And you got the regular telephoto, you've got the wide angle. It's got everything. And you can even record 8K video at 30 frames per second. Like, I'm not too crazy about that. I'm not recording anything in 8K video, but some people really like that. Before it was 8K at 24 frames, you can do 8K at 30 frames per second. And then, of course, you get the 4K at 60 frames on the front, which I love. I record all my videos in 4K 60. Like, the video I'm recording today, 4K 60. I just like the smoothness. I like the way that it looks. I like all those extra frames in there. I know some people like 24, some people like 30, whatever. I like 60. So anytime I see a phone and I'm like, for the longest time I was like, please, let's just get all these cameras to 4K 60, and I'm pretty happy. So this phone is an absolute joy. Like, it is. I didn't think it was going to be a big upgrade. I mean, I was kind of a naysayer whenever we were going from the S22 Ultra to the S23. I'm like, all right, I know this chip looks good on paper, but is it really going to make that much of a difference? And then I actually got a hold of the OnePlus 11 several weeks before this came out, and it had the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 in it. And I was like, okay, maybe this is the real deal. I can't wait to see what Samsung does with this. And then bam, it shows up and it's killing it in the battery life. It's not heating up like it was last year. And it just goes the distance and lets you do whatever you want to do. And it's a fantastic phone. Of course, it's got IP68 dust and water resistance, wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, fantastic Bluetooth connection. And one thing a lot of people don't ever talk about when they review this phone is Dolby Atmos. So it's got the Dolby Atmos sound on here. So all you have to do is just go to the drop down. I mean, it's super easy. Swipe down, swipe over to the right, and you'll see it right here, Dolby Atmos. Turn that on. It gives you better sound experience, especially if you're using earbuds. If I ever like to listen to music, my ideal phone to do it on is the Samsung S23 Ultra, because with that Dolby Atmos, it makes it sound like 20-30% better. There's better volume, there's better overall sound, and it just sounds great. And it has fantastic speakers too. I don't really use the speakers a whole lot because I prefer to use earbuds when I use it. But yeah, it has fantastic speakers, nice, loud, all that great stuff. But that Dolby Atmos really makes a big difference, and it's a real differentiator between a lot of other phones because they don't have it. And if you go test out some earbuds, and like, I'll put them in and listen to them with an iPhone. I'm like, all right, whatever, yeah, sounds pretty good. And then you go plug them in, or you connect them Bluetooth wirelessly, and listen with this, and it's like a whole nother sound experience. And I always have to talk about that when I do audio reviews, because I'm like, look, depending on what phone you have, you will have a different sound experience with these earbuds, and some will sound better. And this right here is primo #1 for me when listening to Bluetooth audio. So just some little food for thought there. But I love the screen, nice and bright, it's beautiful. And one nice thing is, it weighs, I think, about 234 grams, 240 grams. It is a little on the heavier side, but somehow the way they've made this phone, it feels very balanced, the weight's distributed well, and it doesn't feel like super heavy. So that's something I like about it. And it's funny because it only weighs like 7 or 8 grams less than the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but the iPhone 14 Pro Max to me feels like a brick. So I don't know what they've done in the design on this phone to kind of balance that out, but it doesn't feel as heavy as it actually is. So that's just something else there that I want to talk about. But 6 months later, I really like this phone. I still think it's probably the best phone that you can get. And as much as I love the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, like, that's not for everybody. Like, that's a phone for me. But for most people, this one is probably the best. And, of course, they just get better over time. And that's one thing I like to talk about, because the camera, yeah, there was a little bit of stumbling at the beginning. Like, some people are like, well, in some situations, it's not as good as last year's. Look, that 108 megapixel camera that was in the S22 Ultra was also in the S21 Ultra. And I think it may have even been the S20. But either way, they had it well optimized. See, when you get this phone, you get a new camera. Every time we get a new camera, they have to re-optimize everything for the camera and fine-tune it. And it's pretty good when it comes out, and it's got a nice, basilar programming, right? But over time, they kind of make it better and better, and they optimize and they program better for it. So by the time you've had this phone for a year, the cameras will actually work better than they did when you first got it because of those software updates to the camera. So we had that 108 for a while. Samsung had it well optimized. So I think maybe that's not explained well to a lot of audiences whenever we get a new phone, and especially a new camera platform, because if you see those little hiccups, or it might not look as great in some areas, when you look at it a year later, it's like a completely different story. So when I come back and I revisit these after a year, that's something I like to talk about. We even had the camera update here already for the phone, 1 or 2 already. So it's getting better there, but it's still a fantastic camera setup, and I think they've made good strides here. I think Samsung has the most well-supported phones, and of course you get One UI, which is their version of Android, which I like it a lot. I guess probably my favorite version of Android. I like the way they do the icons. I like the way that they just set up everything. You've got Samsung Pay if you want to use that, all that other stuff, and then of course if you want to get the other stuff like the tablet, that stuff works together. If you want to get you got the new Watch 6 Classic and all that. So Samsung really has done a pretty good job over the last few years of building out the ecosphere and adding different things to their platform that you can get together if you like all that Samsung stuff. So at 6 months, I think it's still safe to say this is probably the best Android phone you can get. And it's crazy because we get these other phones that come out and they're good, but throughout the year and even at the end of the year, or even when the new iPhone comes out, we're always talking about this as phone of the year contender, and it comes out so early in the year, and that's just a testament to how well that Samsung makes their phones. So 6 months later, it's cooking with gas. It's a great phone. There have definitely been some deals on it. I've got some links in the description for those. Like I said, $888 over at Amazon. It's the cheapest I've seen it so far, and they still got the deal where you can get the storage upgrade and up to $750 trade-in credit over on Samsung. So, like I said, links in the description for that. I'm going to sign off on this one. Fantastic phone, even 6 months later. So, that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, of course, please go to the comments section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, if you found this helpful, please, of course, hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.